Ten are you still in? Jambo. Wagwan. Greetings. Yes, I give thanks again for another day of reflection on the earth entrance. Yes, I. Earth entrance. Welcome one and all to another reasoning on the earth entrance. More love, more joy, more strength. As the item can say, a dawn in full white today. Netch, as we say in Ethiopia. So it's a day of reflection, Many say the day of the Sabbath. You know what I mean? So give thanks again for all. Moment of rest, moment of reflection, which is necessary. Even though some don't really have no work, but them really take Sabbath still. So cause Sabbath is something where you're supposed to ease off. You know what I mean? And take a moment to reflect. So give thanks to all the workers them who are the 6th day of hard labour and see it fitting to take a day to reflect. Well, today I want to talk about some different kind of vibration in there. When you're a youth I grew up, or just in general, society in general, them will say biggie, I'm smally, fatty, magai, blacky, I'm whitey, or them would say, so much things. So, what category do you put yourself in? Because if you don't, some people oftentimes will. You know what I mean? There's a prophecy in the book of St. Matthew 13, I think verse 43, where it talk about the wheat and the tear. The wheat and the tear. What would you categorize yourself as? A wheat? A tear? What is a wheat? Well, a wheat is oftentimes defined as a edible plant from the grass family. Very edible. And a tear is like a poisonous weed, which can cause nauseousness or nauseousness, or sometimes even death. Now, if you have an animal eat it, them, sometimes they meet them demise. So wheat is not something where one that really want to put themselves in that fullness. But there's a story about a farmer who planted his farm with wheat only. And them say by night, an enemy came and planted tear in his plant, in his garden, in his farm. And one of the workers, them said to him, like, we need to root them out from now. And when him look at it, they were identical, like identical twins. They look basically the exact same way. The structure of the leaves and all these things in them early growings look exactly the same. So the wheat and the tear, him say, leave them and let them grow together. So in the harvest time, we can make a difference between the two quickly. Because when them grow, them no longer look the same way. It's only in them preliminary years. So that just goes around to I and I same way. Like, sometimes we cannot discern a spirit until the time appoint when them show themselves, when them become something else, like them reveal them true self. You know what I mean? So right now, in our society, in our community as races, there's a lot of ones with dreadlocks, there's a lot of ones with turban, there's a lot of ones who hail Rastafari, there's a lot of ones who look alike. There's a lot of look alike in our community. But in our community, there is a lot of lookalikes who are predators to our sons and to our daughters and to our loved ones in general. And people will say, the Rasta they do that and the Rasta they do this. You know what I mean? So how do we differ? How do we make a difference because the whole of we look the same way, the whole of we talk the same way, but behind closed doors, many of us get involved in all different kind of matters. What the man say, leave all judgment unto God. You know what I mean? But as I showed the item earlier, I said the man are right, a God in flesh. So really and truly, in Ethiopia, when we learn now, there's a thing called Shimaglin. Shimaglin is a group of elders that come together and we resolve the issues them amongst the community before it could have even reached the police or any authorities. This is what our community, our Rastafarian community is lacking. We are lacking a community of elders, Shimaglin, where you have people in our community that are doing miscellaneous activities, you know what I mean, in all different sectors. And then the blame or the fingers point on just Rastas in general. You know what I mean? Like for example, the other day, the little sister come out and say she's into girls as well as she's into whatever she's into, but it was declared. And it was like a scapegoat moment when we see everybody point them finger upon Chronics. Now look at it now. Chronics, I want you to come out in the Rastafari movements and give us some great songs, great vibration and change the mood and the whole thing. And it's like even I and I community, it like it was a joy to bring down the youth like, yeah, long time on them and them this and them that. I mean, I said, John no star, I and I judgmental, terrible. Because Jamaica that, you know, so if your name called upon certain things, it's like a judgment to the fullness. But within the Rastafarian community, we should have a group of elders now where call up all them little brethren now, because it have a psychological effect, you know. Even if you say a man may go like him rough and tough, he might feel it. Call him up now and sit him down within the in the eldership settings and ask them what is really happening. And so I and I could have disseminate a better narrative around all of what is happening. Because sometimes the youth them now have control over Wagwan, especially in this dirty music industry. So you find out, say now, the wheat and the tear are really a true fullness of how even the prophecy declare it. Because, you know, if we just go root up the wheat and root up the tear, you don't even know which is which. Because them look exactly the same way. So from now on, we want the item to start check the slanderers. The ones that are more quick to jump on the wagon to bring down the other. And you check the meditation and see if it's poisonous or if it's edible. At them side, because you know in our community we don't spend time out to find solutions to our problems. You know what I mean? Because the man say if a man suffer from a guilty conscience, are the greatest sufferation that you know. So a man must find peace with him conscience and think before you come and broad out and make some loud accusations of things you're just assuming. Because most of us tend to assume. That is the reason why ones and say, Nigos, why don't do a video on this and why don't do a video on that? No, YouTube is not my boss. And I am not a slave to YouTube. So I am not here for that situation. If that happen and the thing go viral and everyone see it and love it, then so be it. But we are going to do this in a time because we have things doing. This is not we really prioritize work. But true, we say we have a voice, and the man said it was the inaction of those who could have acted. We are saying we're not going to make our voice go unheard. So we are use the moment and we are use the platform in order to bring across a fullness. We must try to be a solution-based people instead of always throwing around the negatives and dragging people's name through and asking miscellaneous question about others. No, we must not do these things on these platforms. We must form a shimaglin where we can come together and say there's a problem the Rasnigo side. We could draft him up and them call me and me can't tell me say, but I can't go and I nah go. Kind of the garrison all where man come from all Augustown when the man them call you and try you. Guilty or not guilty. And sometimes you're guilty of a pickaxe stick beating. You're guilty of a pipe iron beating. You're guilty of couple kick and punch. Not talk about jungle justice now, you know. And sometimes you're guilty of all a gunshot. So in even the negative world, them have them way how them sort out them fullness. So why and I as awakened people cannot use the same methods among ourselves within upfulness, within righteousness, within the correctness of doing things. Yes, we must stop pointing fingers in the public. Stop washing our dirty linen in the public because it seems like the right thing to do. And when you do such thing like that, people will come and give you 1 million views and YouTube will pay you. Check yourself. Check your doings. Check your meditation. As I showed the item before, the man are right, a God in flesh. The man are wrongs a Satan. But if there's a problem, we could sort out the problem amongst ourselves before we drag it through the mud. For the world I see it and I point finger and I say, look upon them are Rasta and look there. Now you're sitting on internet. The Rasta this, Rasta that, rare. Yeah, because some people is not, you have to check it. Some are wheat and some are tear. So some are go all a joy doing that. Because it make them feel good. Give them a buzz. It give them a vibes. Yeah, man. Drag down that. Long time them boy rare. Long time them boy shaky. No, jealousy. Sometimes a jealousy. Because artists rise and artists relax. And all the fall, you know. Because there's an entity that push artists. It's not the artist really, you know. In all truth, it's not the artist, never the artist. Is the engine behind the artist. And the reason why I use artists as a reference is because I am an artist myself. And I know on the rise, then you're going to hear say, you know, so the one Negos did do that. And the one Negos did do this. Because that is the narrative out there. That is the way. That is the way. So wheat and the tears are going to grow until the day of harvest. What is the use of the tear? What is the use of the harvest? The harvest, the tear can often use for fuel. So it still have a use. So you find out, so the fuel now, the tear now have a use for, yeah, for fuel. It have a burn. But the wheat have a consume and provide nutrients for all who consume it. You know what I mean? So we look and we say, well, yeah, the wheat have a better use. So try and be a wheat and not a tear. Yes, I. Because as I say, the wheat and the tear, they look exactly the same. You cannot tell the difference until them reach a certain stage of them development. When them cannot hold it no longer, them have to reveal them true self. You know what I mean? So, right now on the earth entrance, I and I trying to be more solution focused. And if the item as viewers feel like we are go off in other things, yeah, the item must leave a comment and say, my Lord, remember, solution focus. Because we already know the problems out there. You know? We are all aware of the problems. So who is trying to bring a solution to the table? Make we do it now. Make we do it. Solution. Yes, I. So, give thanks again for your listening ears and rap attention. And give thanks to the moment of reflection. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie Jah, Rastafari. Yes, I. And the item for just start see things out of the item own eyes, you know. Because the man said, who have eyes will see, and who have ears will hear. You know what I mean? The man said, knock. And the door will oftentimes be open. And if you seek, yeah, most of the time you may find. You know, it's better to not seek or it's better not to, you know, it's better if you do the latter. Knock, seek, you know what I mean? And all these things. So for these few words, you know, I do give thanks. Yes, I. Another moment in the earth entrance is I. Rasnegos I. Love and joy. Give thanks to the Rastafarian Mansion, EWF, Naya Bingi, Bobo Shanti, 12 Tribe of Israel, School of Vision, and all the others. Because you don't know, Rastafari is one family. And that is the narrative that's supposed to be out there. One family, because we all are linked to Haile Selassie the first. Man said the diversive part of religion are fingers of one faith, offering completeness to all and eager to receive all. So let us put away our silly tendencies and be something we have never been before. The man said, yes, we must avoid the timeless conflict, you know what I mean? And find solutions to our problems, you know what I mean? Yeah, among ourselves before we take it out there and drag ourselves through the dirty pits and the trenches. Yes, love alone shall carry. Give thanks again. More life, more love, more strength. Love, love. Live love. Jah is love. Let us all love. Give thanks again. Earth and chance. Yes, I.